fastest show in sports.
Let's be honest. There's no greater relief for fans of the Miami Dolphins to know that you're not going to be in the playoffs this year. It's over. It's done. There's no more Super Bowl talk. Yes, I know there was a nice win streak. Everybody felt better about themselves. But you're out. The pain is over. I mean, what has happened this season and in recent seasons with this franchise? Come on, fans. You got to at least be happy. You don't have to worry about playoff tickets now. You don't have to worry about a ridiculous parking charge. You don't have to worry about any of this. Dolphins are off. Yay! Everybody's going to go play golf real soon, and then starts the real mess. I mean, this is a franchise that no matter how many times we talk about it, the same issues come up every time. And there's a lot of fans out there who just don't want to deal in this. I know that everybody was very happy with the recent winning streak. And it was good. I mean, it looked like the Dolphins were turning things around, albeit it was way too late. They weren't going to go anywhere. Anybody who thought that they were going to win out until the end and sneak into the playoffs was delusional. Somebody is looking at the square grouper off Miami Beach, grabbing it and taking it home because it wasn't going to happen. This team is not that good. They're not. On offense and defense, they're not that good. And certainly when it comes down to the coaching, this team is a dumpster fire. I said this weeks ago. Mike McDaniel has got to go. He should have went then. He should go now. I mean, look, the season is over. You've got nothing to play for at this time. Right now, what you're doing is looking at players for next year. I mean, okay, let's stop. Maybe you then keep McDaniel in for the rest of the year just to basically let him play out the string. Because you don't have anybody else who can really coach the team right now. Yeah, I know, come on. You can put assistant coaches in there. But nobody really wants to take that responsibility because every single assistant coach on the Dolphins roster now knows that the likelihood is they're going to be looking for work next year. And the reason being is you got to hire a general manager. So there's no real push to fire McDaniel right now or to get rid of him. Why not play out the string? Because whoever it is that's going to come in and become the general manager of this franchise is very likely going to choose their own head coach. Look, you're not going to be a GM of any repute. And therein comes something else about the Dolphins. If owner Stephen Ross is going to be smart, which would be one of the first times in footballese to hire somebody who actually knows what he's doing, somebody who has a track record, somebody who can come in and run this franchise. Then again, you do have to look at why would anybody want to come in and run this franchise as a general manager? That's easy. It's a National Football League franchise. There's all kinds of people out there who want a job like this to be able to prove that they can rebuild a team that has been so moribund in the last couple of seasons. But whoever that GM is, he's going to pick his own coach. So McDaniel knows he's out. There's no two ways about it. McDaniel knows that he's basically a lame duck at this point, so let him go ahead. Make the edict to come in here and play some of these guys. Play some of your second and third stringers. Take a chance. Why not? At least be entertaining here down towards the end because it is the end. And it couldn't be a better end for the Dolphins franchise. But now there's a lot of people who are seemingly missing the point in a lot of what happens next. McDaniel's out. He's gone. And that's a good thing for the Dolphins. His assistant coaches, out. Gone. A good thing as well. Clean the slate, bring in an entirely new staff, and rebuild this franchise. This used to be a proud franchise. Now it's a laughingstock of the NFL. It has been for a number of years because everybody looks at Mike McDaniel and tries to figure out what in the name of sweet football Jesus did Stephen Ross and Chris Greer and anybody see in this guy. I mean, he was a lifetime assistant, which is right where McDaniel deserves to be. Make him an assistant coach, but don't put him in charge of a franchise. He's already proven that he just can't do it. So while you're looking at McDaniel coming in here towards the end of his Dolphin career and who the next coach might be, I keep hearing all of these rumors and rumbles and all of these so-called brilliant experts in football talk to me about how Tua Tagovailoa has got to go, which shows they're not that smart. Anybody who says that you have to dump Tua doesn't know a damn thing about football, isn't paying attention to what goes on, doesn't know anything about contracts, and is just another knee-jerk fan, or mostly a knee-jerk media idiot who hasn't studied what really is going to happen here. And here's the reality of the situation. Let's not forget that the Dolphins gave Tua a $212 million contract extension not long ago at all, when they figured he was going to be the quarterback of the future and the franchise quarterback, which I believe he still can be. Look, I don't think the guy is a complete disaster. He makes a lot of mistakes. But look why he makes a lot of those mistakes. Notice how everything changed when Tyreek Hill disappeared, when he got injured, and Tua didn't have really anybody to throw to, just a cast-off band, if you will, and he had to rely on a running game. And Achane is an excellent running back, but it all comes down to the offensive line. Dolphins got nobody up front. I mean, sincerely, when you look at the talent that's there, it's marginal talent at best. So I think Tua can be a better quarterback with a better offensive line and a balanced set of receivers. But that also brings up the next issue that a lot of these media knuckleheads and a lot of the knee-jerk fans are completely missing. Because of that $212 million extension, if you get rid of Tua by June 1st, keep this in mind now, okay? And I'm checking my notes on this here. Because if you bounce him before June 1st of 2026, that's a $99 million dead cap space. It's $99 million. It's dead cap. You can't use it. And not only that, it gets worse as his contract goes on. And you're not going to find any other team out there that's going to be willing to take on that kind of money. Tua is the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. He is going to be the quarterback in 2026 rather. He's going to be the quarterback maybe even in 2027. Because of the money that the Dolphins made the mistake to pay him in the first place. Look, if they hadn't signed him to the extension, they wouldn't be sitting here with this dead cap space issue. But it's sitting here. And everybody who says, and I read it again today, time to get rid of Tua. Where are you going to put him? And what are you going to do with the $99 million in dead cap money that's just going to sit there and you can't use? You will cripple this franchise for seasons to come. So either you get Tua to decide to go ahead and renegotiate his contract, and there's absolutely no reason to believe that he would. He might. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that do, a lot of players that do. If he renegotiates the contract, then it's possible that the Dolphins can put that money back into play. But there's no impetus for him to do that. You owe me the money. You paid me the money. And hell, if you're sitting there and if you're Tua, and you say, well, we want you to take less money, and let's give some of the money back, and let's do some of this. Why would you do it? There's no reason for him to do it. Tua can be a good, serviceable, number one quarterback going forward. But, thing is, you got to bring in a new GM that has a real vision for what this team is going to be. You got to get rid of Mike McDaniel, and he's gone. There's no way. Look, McDaniel's a guy you can wipe your hands of like this and say he's out of here and bring somebody else in. I mean, I don't even care if you bring in another wunderkind. Bring in somebody who actually has some real chops at maybe being a head coach and not him. But Dolphin fans, you need to understand something. You are run by a management level that doesn't understand pro football, doesn't understand the NFL, hasn't done a good job putting the right people in the right places, and to this day has got to get better at what they do. Is Stephen Ross going to do that? I have no confidence. I have no confidence in the guy. And if you have confidence in him, then quite frankly, you're delusional. Because this is a franchise that needs a complete rehaul. And look, it's not going to be a sale by Ross. He's not going to sell this team. He's making too much money. I mean, look at what he owns with the stadium, with the tennis tournament, with the Formula One race, with so much else. He's not going to sell the team. Okay, Mr. Ross, please get off your ego and hire somebody in there who is going to understand how to run an NFL franchise. And for God's sake, don't put another Chris Greer in here. Because at that point, you will have Flipper, who no longer wants to be the logo of this team. Moving on. It is an absolute mess in Michigan, but it is a mess that Michigan has made for themselves. And now you have a team that is looking ahead to a future and not knowing who's going to run the future. I mean, not only just the future, the far-flung future, but what comes up this season. Michigan Wolverines fans have got to be concerned to who is in charge of your football program, the athletic program in general. But let's focus on the football program here. This Sherrone Moore issue is not going to go away. Look, the guy's an idiot. I mean, he basically took a job 2 years in. He hadn't really shown that he was going to be the coach that Michigan needed moving forward, but at least he was serviceable. And then he comes in, destroys his career, and potentially destroys the careers of a lot of assistants, a lot of players, and the fans now lose faith in this franchise. But this is a football program that has been punished for a sign-stealing scandal, recruiting violations. The men's hockey coach was found to have created a toxic environment. A football co-offensive coordinator was fired and federally indicted for stealing intimate photos of female athletes, and the men's basketball coach faced a Title IX complaint and was investigated for an altercation with a staff member. That's just in 3 years. That's what's gone on at Michigan. And now they have hired a law firm based in Chicago, Jenner and Block, to come in and basically do a complete inquiry and investigate the entire athletic department. But are you confident that what they do is going to be legit? I mean, let's face it. The hierarchy at Michigan hid. They had to know what was going on with Harbaugh. They had to know about the sign stealing and the recruiting violations. How many times do we have to do this? Where every single time a coach does something stupid, foolish, idiotic, that then we have somebody coming in and say, well, the administration didn't know. Bullshit. Bullshit. They all know. They always know. And the problem with it is once you start and you make note of it and you say, we've got a problem, then you've got the whole program that gets involved. Then you have that football program that gets involved, that gets hit, that gets dinged. And then you've got a chance at making more money that's gone and a chance at a national championship that might be gone. Look, they were hiding it. Michigan hid what Harbaugh did, and they paid for it. And, of course, Harbaugh's paid for it. Yeah, guess what? Making millions of dollars in the National Football League. He's never going to coach in college again. He's got a 10-year sit-out clause, basically. If he ever decides to, well, no, he's got a 10-year clause. I think he's got to sit out the first year if he takes another job. What program is going to hire a guy that you're not going to be able to use for a year? And he's already under suspicion from the NCAA and the feds as well. So you don't want him involved, so you don't have to worry about that. But Michigan covered up what happened. With Sherrone Moore, they couldn't cover it up. I mean, the guy was foolish enough where he got involved with a staff member and then broke into a house and threatened to kill himself. I mean, the cops got involved. At that point, you put your hands up and say, look, there's nothing we can do. We can't say yay, nay, or maybe here because we've been caught. We got to fire the guy. And they did. I give them credit for that. They got right on it, didn't waste any time, pulled the trigger. That's what they had to do. But now they're left in a lurch because they have to find a coach. They're going to use interims now. And what about next season? Most coaches have already done their deals for next season. And now when you look at it, you're going to be looking at basically a secondary level of coaches that you might be able to get for the program next year. It's a big problem. But my biggest question, and I want to ask this to Michigan fans, because, look, you folks are loyal. You deserve to have the right thing done. Do you trust this athletic program to do the right thing? They obfuscated and hid what was going on under the Harbaugh years. They've had all these problems. I mean, all these things I just talked about on the athletic program. As I said, just the past 3 years, they've had all these issues. Do you trust this program in order to get done what needs to be done? Do you find any reason whatsoever to trust your athletic department leadership that has basically been sitting there and letting this nonsense go on? The problem with it is, of course, you as the fans don't have any say whatsoever. It's the boosters that have the say. It's the sponsors that have the say. Those are the ones that got to get involved. Those are the ones that got to walk into the offices that run this athletic department and say, enough already. If we're going to give you our money, if you want our money, you got to clean this stink up. And that's the problem right now. It's not just the football program. There are rife with issues at Michigan. What do? As a fan, you can't do anything. You can only sit there and gripe and moan and piss and grief. Because you have to worry about and you have to then want, and you got to make sure that the people who are involved in spending the money at Michigan are the ones that then come out and say, you guys got to get your shit together. Because we give you millions, tens, hundreds of millions of dollars. And this is what you're doing with it? You're pissing it away? And yes, I know, Michigan has beaten Ohio State recently, and again, that's one of the most important things. It's not like they get whipped by Ohio State every single year. No, that rivalry's good. It's solid and needs to be pushed forward. So it's not as if I'm saying that, well, it's bad because you lose to Ohio State, but this program can be better. This program should be better. And the people that are in charge at Michigan have to be the ones who say, stop, no more. We got to make this place better. Fans, you got a long road to hoe here, but it still has to start at the top. Moving on. My question to people who are at LSU, seriously, you're an LSU fan, you're a big booster, I get it. Do you trust Lane Kiffin, and do you care? Here's the thing about Lane Kiffin. We know that he wanted to be at LSU because apparently Ole Miss offered to basically match the contract that LSU gave him, 7-year, $91 million, $13 million a year. It looked like they would match. But he wanted to go to LSU because he believed his best chance at winning a national championship was at LSU. Okay, but let's back up a second. Lane Kiffin has a history. He has a manner about him where he looks to basically use everything as a stepping stone. If you look at everything he has done over his career, he has lied, he has cheated, he has worked his way. But again, you can scream and holler at me, but it's the truth. It's right there. And it's not like every other coach doesn't do it in the first place. But he has basically systematically worked his way to move on to other places. This is where you got to sit back and you got to think twice. I believe Lane Kiffin took the LSU job because he believed it was his best chance to win a national championship and to refurbish his image to get back to the NFL. Okay, bring on the brickbats. Go ahead. The NFL is still where everybody wants to be. It doesn't make a difference who you are as a head coach or an assistant coach in college football. You want to get to the NFL. That's where the big money is. That's where the Super Bowl glory lives. Okay? You want to get there. Kiffin had his chance, and he blew it. Not only did he do a terrible job in coaching the Raiders, but he wound up with the most psychotic ownership in the National Football League. Well, okay. It's the most psychotic, but it's pretty close. The Davis family is in there, but it's close with some others right now. He got in a bad situation, but he did a terrible job. And ever since then, Lane has been persona non grata when it comes down to any of the National Football League openings. Yeah, I know. I hear the fans do it all the time. I hear the so-called experts do it all the time. I heard it in the last couple of years. Hey, look at Lane Kiffin. He'd be perfect to come back to the NFL. What? What? After what happened with the Raiders? Come on. Be serious now. You're just kidding yourself. So if you're an LSU fan, do you trust him? But do you care? Follow me here. Lane Kiffin comes in, takes the job. He's done a good job so far. He's got 14 commitments. When he came in, he's rebuilding the program. He comes in, I don't know, he's got a 7-year contract. These contracts never go to the end. So he stays 3 or 4 years, wins a national championship. Okay, wins the title, and then the next season, well, maybe things falter a little bit. because now that he's won the title, he's back in the good graces of people in the NFL who see that he can take a program like LSU, which had turned into a bit of a dumpster fire, and turn him into a champion. So he kind of gets his graces back in the NFL. He's got the chance there to go back to the NFL. Don't you think he's going to take it? But, here's my caveat. Do you care? If Lane Kiffin comes in and wins a national championship, he's done what you want. Let's face it, LSU fans, you want a national title. You think you deserve it. You want an SEC title and you want a national title. So if he comes in and wins the title, do you really care if he's there long term? I mean, it doesn't happen with many coaches anymore. Coaches don't last 7 years. And certainly Kiffin won't either. He's got something else in mind. He's got the NFL still in mind. So if he comes in and does what he is paid to do, which is win you a national championship, why should you care if he goes? Hell, he might leave the program in better shape, because depending on who he grooms in his assistant coaching ranks, that could be the next step. Kiffin leaves, and you've got some continuity. My point is, don't get all in bed and in love with Kiffin, because it doesn't have to last. It's not going to last. Lane Kiffin will not be at LSU in 7 years. Write it down. Not going to happen. I still believe that Kiffin is looking to redo his image. He wants to get back to the NFL, and as soon as he either wins the title or things don't work out at LSU, which is what he doesn't want, because that's going to make him look down. They're going to look down on him again in the NFL. He needs that win. He needs that national championship. He needs that sustainability in order to get him back. If he doesn't win, the NFL might look at him again and say, it's not worth it. Maybe then he stays. I mean, this is all subjective here at this point. We're all guessing. Nobody knows. But if you're an LSU fan, and I know you are because a lot of you hammered me during that whole process when I was talking about Kiffin going to LSU, oh yeah, I got hammered pretty good. It's okay. You're fans, you're passionate, you love it, I get it. But don't fall so in love with Lane Kiffin, because it's not going to last. There's going to be road bumps here and there, and this is a guy that you still shouldn't trust.
Ed Berliner, the fastest show in sports.